Hello everybody, welcome to today's topic. My name is Shadi Gio, and click the hands icon to like the video and click the red button to subscribe to my channel and check out all the wide variety of videos that I have on my channel. Well, wonderful people, today we have a little bit of good news that the ceasefire has continued and there's been no major escalation between Israel and Iran, and it is a blessing in disguise that this geographic region is not getting in a worse off militarized zone. And it was pretty. I mean, if you're in Israel or if you're in Iran, you know how chaotic the bombing from either side was. So it is pretty significant that what the modern weapons can do and how bad they've damaged both countries. But the thing I have to say today is that whatever Israel used in its arsenal of weapons and then they attacked Iran, they did it with the help of a superpower, namely America. On their own, Israel couldn't achieve any of it, as we know. That's pretty self-evident. So what I'm trying to say is that everything that Iran did, it did it by itself. And if the thing I wanted to make the title something else. So like 3-4 hours flight time of a fighter jet versus 7 minutes of a ballistic missile to reach the target. So what is more effective? That's what I'm getting at. You see, the thing is that if a fighter plane from Israel takes off and it goes to Iran somewhere deep inside the country and bombs whichever target it's selected, it needs to fly itself to the target without getting detected, using pilot skills and aircraft, stealth ability, using F-35s. And I know the Israeli Air Force uses a mixture of F-15s, F-35s, and whatnot. So you need to have all these sophisticated aircraft first to make it there. And then it takes 3 to 4 hours to get there. And once you're there, then you need to drop the weapons, So it's like and then you can only take so much weapons on each fighter plane. There are like 3 to 4 hard points on every aircraft fighter undercarriage. So that is the issue with fighter aircraft. And it is all done manually. But what Iran has able to do, whatever the Israeli Air Force, of course, if there was an Iranian Air Force, then we wouldn't see so many Israeli incoming Air Force attacks. Yeah, I'm not saying Air Force is not good. Having an Air Force is very necessary. But in Iran's case, all they did, they pressed a button, fired like 100 ballistic missiles, and they went. Within 7 minutes, they reached Tel Aviv, or whichever target inside Israel. And that created a huge damage to the country. So, which would you rather have? An aircraft fighter or like 100 ballistic missiles? Obviously, 100 ballistic missiles. And they do damage, they go pinpoint accuracy to the target. So that is the issue, that is the comparison that I'm doing today, that whatever Israel did, and of course they used superpower of United States, and even with that, Iran single-handedly damaged half of Israel. People are saying, like today's report came, that the ballistic missiles that were dropped on Israel, they were pinpoint accurately dropped on the designated target. So yeah, you have a few missiles that go rogue and hit residential areas, but 95% of the Iranian ballistic missiles landed on military designated targets that they were intended for. And that is the surprising, shocking thing, how accurate these missiles are due to GPS satellites. So if you were to employ which tactic, obviously it would be the ballistic missile. And of course, Iran went 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. They built all their launching facility underground. And they don't have one, they probably have a couple of underground launching facilities. And at the same time, if you find one of their launch sites, they have another launch tunnel somewhere else. So whatever Iran did, they did it like 4 to 6 steps ahead of time. And I would say, in contemporary times, Iran is the #1 country in employing modern tactical ballistic missiles, which are totally untouchable by any military threat because they built everything underneath the mountains. If you're going to destroy a mountain, you're going to need 100 hydrogen bombs to destroy that mountain, to be straight up. And if you use one hydrogen bomb, everybody in the world is going to shout at you. So, you see, that's the thing. Iran did something very clever, and I would say that that is the most out-of-the-box, outstanding, brilliant solution to their country's defense problems. Because obviously they don't have an air force, so how are they going to? But you know, they still managed to shoot down 3 F-35s, maybe 4. So you have to think out of the box sometimes, and this is how Iran became victorious. Everybody's going to say like, oh no, Israel did. What did Israel do? If you take United States out, Israel is nothing, absolutely nothing. So because of the United States, Israel is where it is and did all the damage to Iran because of United States. If you take United States out of the picture, it would be a one-way traffic, to be honest. And I'm hearing reports that the B-52s that dropped those bunker-busting bombs, they still haven't achieved their target because the Iranians took away their enriched uranium and they, secretly moved that material to some other location. So, we can't say. And, yeah, there is peace. This is another point I want to say. So, is there really peace between Israel and Iran? All we know that Iran did major damage to Israel, and with the help of Uncle Sam, Israel managed to do a little bit of bombing in Iran on the military target. Without Uncle Sam, Israel is nowhere. And if we go like right now, let's give peace a chance because it was a pretty big deal. And if we go forward and if there's no incident, then I wouldn't even doubt for a second that Iran will have a nuclear bomb within 6 months, a functioning proper nuclear bomb, because I don't see much damage to the Fordoza nuclear site, the Inans nuclear site, or the Isfahan nuclear site. Everything is underground, you see? And even the Americans are saying that we don't know. Maybe they buried the nuclear material when they dropped the bombs because it should explode. It didn't even explode. It just went down and a lot of earth and sand just buried the whole thing. So, you see, there are a lot of question marks. Was the mission successful? Was the mission even able to penetrate 10% of the fortified mountains? And I'm also hearing reports that the Americans never even flew B-52 bombers. Now, how wild is that? Because if they didn't even fly the B-52s, because the Chinese government is saying, we never saw any incoming B-52s from our airspace, and the Europe is saying we never saw any coming from our space. So and there was there were not that many B-52s from Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. So where did they fly these bombers from? Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was all a big trick just to fool the Netanyahu government. You see where this whole thing is going? And if you look at the Fordoz nuclear power plant, there is no destruction on the top of the, the satellite picture, the bird's eye view. There's no destruction. There are only 3 dots. There are 3 dots, like they're 3 small holes. So they dropped 3 bunker bursting bombs on the same spot, and that's it. Nothing happened. So I feel this is a conspiracy theory. I don't think the Americans ever wanted to bomb the nuclear facility. I think the Iranians have their nuclear facility, and they've moved their nuclear enriched uranium to another location. And it was just to make the Netanyahu government fool. So we shall see what will happen to the Netanyahu government, because I would he destroyed Israel, to be honest. He was bickering this for 30 years. They've got nukes. They don't have. Iran doesn't have nukes. Yes, they have ballistic missiles, but they don't have nukes. It's still not fully 100% processed. So this is what happens when you falsely accuse. And if you look at the 2 countries, Iran hit Israel harder, because with the limited resources that Iran has, it was able to pinpoint accurately destroy all the military targets within Israel. And what did Israel? Israel managed to destroy a couple of hospitals, a couple of residential areas, They tried to bomb those mountain nuclear bases, nothing happened. They did it again, nothing happened. They did it again with B-52s, nothing happened. So who's the victorious here? It's definitely Iran, because it's not Israel. Israel, they've got a whole homework to do. They've got like next 2 years to build whatever was destroyed in the last 2 weeks. So that is where you calculate who actually won, with the limited resources or one with the most resources, which is Israel, because they have an air force, army, access to U.S. Army, U.S. United States of America military, firepower. So, with all those resources, they couldn't do this. So it's funny. And I just heard one more story. One of the army generals of Iran, that the so-called Israeli strike killed a bunch of scientists and some army, that general came back to life. So he never died. So, see, the success to ratio is like, I don't know. It's like, what were they thinking? But all I know, the facts on the ground. Israel, militarily, has been destroyed, or it's been dysfunctional, because they had to move their air force to Cyprus. Then, all they did, and they destroyed, and their David sling, and their THAAD, and all their Arrow 3, all their defense shield was like useless. They spent $200 billion for each, 2 or 3 days, to prevent incoming Iranian ballistic missiles. Where did they get them? Nowhere. They lost that money, and it failed. The defense shield failed badly. And all I know is that Iran still hasn't shown its latest ballistic missile. They were only using their outdated stock. So, yeah, sure, they got some bombardment from the United States, but they still have their military bases intact, and they're still able to launch. What if this war continued, today? They would have bombed the whole of Middle East, and that's pretty scary. And we could have ended up in World War III or something. So, it's like Iran is not a walk in the park. And Israel should have done their homework, They shouldn't have attacked. And look where they got them right now. And I've seen a lot of Israelis are becoming homeless. So, it's pretty scary. So let's just hope this lasts for everlasting peace, because I can tell you for certain Iran will have a nuclear bomb in the next 2 to 5 years. And when they have that, then there's no telling. If they're this powerful now, imagine in like 6 months from now or 2 years from now, Iran will bounce back. And then there will be a third country, a Muslim country, which have a nuclear bomb. Where is Israel going to go? To what limits? So whatever they did, Mr. Netanyahu, I think he's the odd man out, from this conflict. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, click the hands icon, and if you want to see more of the videos, then check out my previous videos on this topic and other topics before this whole saga began, and click the red button, and hope to see you next time.